Stacy,
Hey!
we are here once again.
How are you?
I'm doing well. It seems just like last week we were right here. Wait a minute, it was last week.
It was last week. Oh my God.
Stacy, how are you?
I'm good. We are planning for our Tennessee move, so I'm a little stressed out about all the moving plans.
Are you really?
We don't have it. It's going to happen sometime between the next 3 to 6 months, somewhere in there. But
gotcha.
we're moving us and my parents, so it's going to be quite an undertaking. But we're getting there. So
A massive undertaking. Listen,
Yeah.
let me ask you something. You look a little taller today. Have you been doing like height exercises?
I put a pillow under my bum.
Oh, did you? You see, I knew you were growing.
I'm growing up.
This is a good segue, actually. I'd like to introduce a new, I guess, friend of mine that we're bringing in. It's my hairdo. Today, I'm going with a lot of people aren't going to maybe remember this character. Most of you watching probably won't. But there was a show back in the 70s called Laverne and Shirley. And there were these two characters, Lenny and Squiggy. Yeah, do we happen to look at that? Now look at Lenny is in the red, Squiggy's in the black leather. Look at Squiggy's hair, okay? Now look at my hair, okay? It's the same. It's
adorable.
The same. Only Squiggy's better looking. You know, actually, no,
not true.
So we're recording earlier in the morning here. Usually we do it late in the afternoon, but circumstances being what they are, so I got a lot going on, and I just didn't have time to bathe properly. So I stuck my head under the faucet, shook it, and came down the stairs. So here, look, see, Slick Willie. You know, it's embarrassing, but I thought, why not embrace my goofiness? Anyways, David Lander played Squiggy, and I actually met him many years ago. He had a book out called Falling Down Laughing. He had some medical issue, whether it was cerebral palsy or I don't know, but he had something where he would fall all the time, and it was difficult. But yet he was a comic to a degree, and he had just laughed at anything negative that happened to him. It was the way how he dealt with his pain, and I found that very admirable. And so he was doing a book signing. I got the book over in the next room over here, and I read it. It was very good, and he was a lovely guy. He sat there, talked, and it was interesting. He was at a Starbucks in a bookshop. Yeah, at a Starbucks and a Barnes and Noble, I think that's what it was.
How long ago was that now?
About 20 years ago.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, so quite a while. Wow,
yeah, quite a while back. Yeah, that was in another life. That was when I was someone else. That was 100 billion years ago. Anyways, so welcome my hair, everybody. I don't know what it'll look like next week, but we're gonna go from there. Okay. So how's our home office? Have you gotten any messages from home office?
Yes, we were told that we really liked it. They really liked it in intercourse, so we're gonna stay there for now.
Everyone was having a lot of fun in intercourse.
At least for the month of February, the most romantic month of the year.
So, we have good timing when we pick our towns.
Yes, we try.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we have a pretty cool little preview. We don't have them ready yet, but I just wanted to show people a little preview of what might be coming. Ready? Boom. Look at that.
We're talking high quality.
We have, you all know Rick Babcock. He was I can't remember what episode he was, but he's the one who made me the Adrian Avenue sign. He sent me these, and I'm just going to go through them. And so we have been talking about t-shirts and the creation of t-shirts. And so we are going to be talking to him about helping us out with getting the t-shirts to our folks. And of course, he always makes these signs. He has many signs, all types of things. But I just wanted to show you a little sneak peek of what he presented to us. And then here he is. Look at him. Look at him. He's already decked
He's ready
out.
to go.
He's ready to go. So we're excited.
That's the shirt I want. Yeah, because if anybody knows me, I run the color scheme in my clothes from gray, navy, and black. That's my color scheme. That's it. First of all, black's very slimming, so there's that.
There's
There's
my
that.
husband's color scheme is no better.
Really?
Every time he gets dressed, we call him like 4 shades of gray because he
Right?
has a gray
I
t-shirt, a gray
know. I
pants, gray
know.
socks. I'm like, honey, there are other
Yeah,
colors.
I know. My mother always says I'm dressed to go to a funeral. Speaking of which,
Speaking of
Stacy,
mom,
guess who has a birthday right now?
oh,
It's
happy
my mother.
birthday. Oh,
Look at that.
Dee.
There she
Happy
is.
birthday.
She's sitting on the couch. She's probably wrapped up in her little blanket that she keeps underneath the cabinet under the TV. And Dad is probably Dad. Hello, Dad. You awake? Dad's sometimes sleeping at this point. Yeah. The kid's on. Get me up when the kid's on TV.
The kid.
Yeah.
That's cute.
So Mom, hopefully you had a great day today, and I will see you soon.
Oh, happy birthday. She's so cute. I love her.
She is. She really is. I just got to spend a little time with her this past weekend. We couldn't be there all during the week to celebrate on the day, but their anniversary was February 3rd. My dad's birthday was the 20th, this past Sunday. So there you go. We try to get it all together and have one big get-together dinner, which was pretty good. We had it at my brother's house, and they did meatballs and brajol and rigatoni and cousin's cake. It was great. It was fantastic. Everybody walked out of there 12 pounds heavier. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's Italian food forever. My number one favorite.
Oh, it was so good too.
Oh yeah.
It was so good. And my brother and his wife, they worked together as a good team in the kitchen, back and forth. And I sat on a stool in the corner drinking Jack Daniels. That's all I did. I just sat there. I go, looks good.
I'm here to eat and relax and drink.
I'm such a horrible dinner guest. I just sit there. Oh no, you know what I did? My brother did put me to work. I had the dustpan. They were cutting the bread and the crust, the Italian loaf. So I got the dustpan and I was sweeping it all up. I did a good job too, if I must say.
I'm sure it was beautiful.
Oh, it was spotless. I think it made the meal personally, but
right.
Nobody wants to be eating in filth. Anyways,
clean environment.
What else is going on?
Stallone updates. We have, I don't know. I love this. I always message him. He has been just on a roll of posting very personal messages. And I think Mike's going to play this in a moment, but his last one about going against the tide. I mean, it's so true. Just blending and going with the tide. And that's not where dreams are made of. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to achieve those things that you thought about as a kid, you do have to go against the tide. So I know that you were listening to that too, Mike.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. If anybody, I don't want anybody to think we're getting more and more sophisticated with our recording ways, the things that we can do. And Stacy is totally capable of downloading this to play the video. The problem is we run into a marginal potential of YouTube taking it down for rights violations.
Right.
I mean, they don't know. We're all cool with Sly.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do?
Inner circle people.
Inner circle, man. Come on, man. Come on. So we don't want to tempt fate. So what I thought I would do, those of you, I'm sure you've already seen it, but I'm going to touch on it again in case you didn't. This is what the screen will look like. Hang on. There. That's Sly sitting in his West Palm Beach backyard and just thinking about life. And like Stacy said, he's been putting out these videos now for some time. And I think they're roadmaps of life. I think when he has a that's the other thing I want to mention. A lot of people have a platform. Some have a larger platform, some have a smaller platform, but a lot of them use it for division, to separate. And
that's the truth.
Yeah, right. And we all know that. We don't have to name names, but I will say this. The thing I really appreciate about Sly is that he uses it to bring together or to bring awareness to other things. So maybe you think about what that other person is going through, and it can help bridge the gaps that divide. So that's one of the things I like, and I thought I would play this. So hopefully I will get it in the right position. I think I'll be able to hear when it's good here. All right.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
You just have to struggle. It's a struggle to achieve one's goals, which is very difficult. It's hard. People tend to minimize, diminish the struggle that is just getting by in life. Quite often it's just easy to go with the current. But to be an individual, to feel as though you did your best in the game of life, you got to swim against the current. And boy, it's fatiguing. But when you get to the other side, when you can climb out of that water and you're at the place you want to be, in that unexplored area, kind of like it reminds me of the extraordinary optimism of explorers. Imagine 1,000 years ago, setting sail for the complete unknown. You have no idea. At one time, they thought the earth was flat. You just go over the side and you die, but you still went. Were there sea monsters, or this, that? I mean, all kinds of dangers. You're going into an absolute abyss. Yet, what keeps you going? If you know there's something better out there, if you're willing to face the danger, the unknown. That's the journey of life. And it's invigorating, as well as challenging. Keep punching.
So, yeah. That I think captures an awful lot. And I mean, it's a segue off of "It Ain't About How Hard You Hit" speech.
Yeah.
When he tells Robert, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits. Not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be. So blaming everybody else. But you go and you do it. And it's something I've certainly tried to live as much as I can by. And these are things I think of all the time. But I don't always so eloquently put it into words like he does. He really does capture it in a short amount of time. It will take me 45 minutes to capture what he said in a minute and a half. You know what I mean?
Right. No, well, he all the perspective, I just, he can summarize all his perspective and put out a really nice, succinct message. And everything he puts out always makes me go, oh, I really needed that today. It's funny. The timing is always hits right, at least.
That's what life is. Life is timing. It's practice and timing.
Yeah.
Believe me, I believe that more than anything else in my life.
Right. So
I really do. So anyways, I know you guys follow Sly, but if you go back and listen to that again, if you're looking for a little bit of, motivation, Mickey would say motivation.
Motivation. I love that.
It works. Speaking of motivation, Stace, I was going to tell a real quick story.
Sure.
Like 2 minutes. Right before COVID, it was my last Rocky gig.
Yes.
Right before the world changed, and I was at the convention center in Philadelphia. There's probably about 4,000 people there, and they had these booths, swag booths, set up. I forget what the group was. I can't remember what the group was, but there was lots and lots of goers there. And so my job is to walk the floor, and I go from booth to booth and bring a Philadelphia flavor.
Got it.
To the event, hey, Rocky, people take a picture, they want to talk. People want to pretend to punch me. It's great. It's like you get paid for an hour and then you go home. Goodbye. Well, at this one booth, the robot from Rocky IV was there. It had some new upgrades. The cassette deck is gone. It's Bluetooth. Okay. But he's got a little, there he is.
There he is.
There's Sico the robot. And I thought, okay. So Sico and I did a little boxing. And as you can see, I don't have the Rocky IV look. That would require 3% body fat, and that ain't me.
That's not anyone.
That's not anyone who's on this planet. Are you kidding? So here I am in the coat and the fedora and the scuffed brown shoes, and just trying to hold my best against Sico the robot. And it was a lot of fun. And of course, once the people on the floor heard, oh my God, the Rocky IV robot is here with Stallone, people were running. Now in front of me, there were like 4 aisles, and you could just see the people running with their cameras up, thinking it's Rocky. It's Stallone, right? And here's where you really have to have like a really good thick skin, and you really have to know yourself, because they're, oh my God, it's Stallone. Hey, Ain't him. The phones go down. They walk away. Nothing. It's like you're just a sweaty Elvis impersonator. It's just, you're like, I get it. I'm not the guy. I know. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And even though Rocky IV is my least favorite, although the director's cut bumped it up, maybe on a particular day, it will marginally overtake Rocky V in my book.
Right.
I had a great time, and it was great seeing a piece of history, film history in the greatest series on the world. So, anyways, that's my little Rocky IV robot story.
That's so cool. Was it talking? Was it like?
Yeah.
Was it okay? I wasn't sure if they had it plugged in.
I'm sure someone will correct me on this if I'm wrong, and I could be wrong. I think that he was either a doctor or a scientist. His name was Robert Dornick, and he created this robot. He wasn't there, but his son was with the robot and doing the talking and the moving and all of that stuff. Yeah, it was great.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's
great. Neat. Anyways. Well, what else do we got going on? Are we interviewing anyone? Are we talking to anyone?
We are. We have this gentleman. He's been part of our, like, when I send out a contest or, he always sent us pictures. Wait till you see the pictures of his little baby girl. I got those ready. Good. But this gentleman I just love his perspective in that part of his story is how he really related to the apartment scene, because he went through his own period of his life where just nothing was working out for him, and how you say that one of the Rocky movies will hit differently as a kid compared to as an adult. So it was that sort of comparison. And then one of the other funny things he's going to tell us about is how finicky of an eater he is or was, and how the Cobra character taught him to perhaps eat a little bit better. So Bryant is here. Bryant, we're going to bring you in. Smile. There he is.
Hey. There he is.
Hi.
What's going on, big man?
Awesome. What's happening, guys? I feel like I'm talking to Rocky royalty here. This is awesome.
Well, you know what? This is a first. Here's a first. What is the one thing that is in common in all of our backgrounds?
I see it.
We all have the Leroy Neiman.
We sure do.
That's crazy. It's
crazy. Epic. It's iconic.
I know. Do you guys know that the original Leroy Neiman was only about this big? That painting that we all have, it was very small. Yeah, it's a very small painting, and then they blow it up. So that's not a real Leroy Neiman that we see in Rocky Balboa. That's just a cardboard transfer with some gel to give it a substance. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Rare Rocky.
No, that's a good observation. I didn't realize that.
10 seconds.
I love it. Now, Brian, where'd you get yours at?
This was actually a gift from my wife about 3 years ago.
Ah, nice, nice.
Good wifey.
Yeah, she did great. She did great. It was one Christmas morning, and you don't know what you're gonna get, and then you rip the paper, and I know immediately what it is.
Right.
And it was one of those like, oh my God,
yeah,
thank you so much. It was awesome. It was the best Christmas gift ever.
Now, Brian, let me ask you this. Are you one of those guys that everybody knows in the family and friends, if you're going to get you a gift, make it a Rocky gift if possible?
Yep.
If possible, yes.
Right.
Yeah. Anything, the shorts, the trunks, the DVDs back when that was a thing. Just loved it. Loved doing all that stuff.
Now, do you do what I do, like on a Friday or a Saturday night when like no one else is around and it's just you and your wife? Like, will you put the Thunderlips cape on and run around the house in white underwear and jump off the couch?
Last night.
Thanks. So Sunday night is your night. That's this would be Wednesday night. Sorry, we're recording. What day are we recording here? I'm so sorry.
I don't know. Yeah, what day is it?
I don't even know where I am. Who are we and what are we doing here? Brian, what is it about Rocky that motivates you, that gets you through your day? What attracted you to this character that we love?
So it was Rocky's kind of always been there for me. And when I think back as a kid, like I don't remember a time when Rocky wasn't there.
Right.
For me.
Agreed.
It was one of those movies that when it was on, and I would remember my dad like in the recliner on a weekend, and I'd walking in the room, what are you watching? Oh, it's Rocky. Sit down and watch this. And I just got hooked. And then the music was so good. and the character development through all the movies is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, what really inspired me to kind of write Stacy was that scene in Rocky One. He's just got the fight with Apollo, and Mickey goes to see him in his apartment, tells him he's going to be his trainer, and he's in there. Is my apartment not good enough for you? Does it stink? Yeah, it stinks. I'm watching this in a crappy little studio apartment, one room in downtown Atlanta, really thinking my life's not going anywhere. And I've seen that scene a dozen times. Mm-hmm. But this particular day I'm watching, and I'm like, okay, now I get it. I get where Rocky's coming from.
Yeah, exactly. And, how old were you at that particular time?
I had to be in my 20s, 25, 6, 7, somewhere right around in there.
So you weren't too far from 30.
Right.
Yeah, not too far from 30, yeah. And I had graduated college.
Oh, really?
And I graduated college, thought my life was going in one direction. It took a totally 180.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And I had, like I said, watched that scene a dozen times, and then just one time I was like, okay, I'm with you, Rocky. I know what you're feeling. And that's what inspired me. Yeah. And Rocky Balboa had come out, and it's kind of, it's funny, you were just talking about this scene where it's like, if you know what you're worth, go out and get what you're worth.
Yeah.
You know, there's that whole speech is amazing and incredible.
Yes, it is.
And anybody can pull out any line from it. But I love those two lines.
Wow. So I'm sorry. What is it? So how did you shift it? So you're in this feeling horrible about where your life is. Yeah. What exactly did you do to get your life on the track that you wanted to be on?
Yeah, so I said, okay, I've got to take control of this. I got to know my worth and go out and get my worth. So, you know, feeling like I'm stuck in a dead-end job, I've got to put myself out there. I've got to go, I've got to go find a different job or something that makes me feel valued, that I feel valued in. And and then, as far as finding a partner to be with in life, finding an Adrian, all that kind of stuff kind of started to come together when I said, okay, it's time for me to do this. And you have to put yourself out there, and you might get knocked down a couple of times. It wasn't, the first job that I applied for, the first girl that I talked to. It's one of those things that you might get knocked down a couple of times, but you got to get back up. Keep putting yourself out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's what it really is all about. It's Sly preaches this. This is something we see in the character of Rocky, which I think is kind of the opposite side of the same coin as Rambo. Excuse me. When Rambo was very reluctant until he couldn't take it, pushed into a corner. He had no way out. Right. He reacted, and then that's it. You don't get in his way.
Yeah.
Rocky and when he would fail, he would just keep trying. But Rocky didn't do it alone. Yes, Rocky had to have the core elements of owning his failure or mistake. Yes. But Rocky needed the love of family and friends. He needed that Adrian factor. He even needed Paulie to a degree. Right? He needed that support. Even when Gazzo in Rocky, when Gazzo is so proud of him, he gives him $500 for spending, and he gives for training expenses. And then we see him at the fight. He's at Gazzo's throwing his arm at the end. Go for it, Rock. Go. And these things, when you see that, how you were treated earlier by an individual. But once they see what you've accomplished and trained and worked for, now people who were like, I don't know, neutral, now they're pushing you on, and that does push us on. Now, your wife, this is maybe the most important question I have to ask.
Yeah.
Is your wife a Rocky fan?
I made her a Rocky fan.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I might have to send you guys a picture. So it was right before we were dating, and it was right before the first Creed came out.
Okay.
And I said, I'm taking you on a date. We're going to go see Creed. Before we go see Creed, there's 6 other movies you got to watch.
Homework.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember, so we're watching, and we're watching the first one, and she's not really that into it. And then the fight scene at the end comes, and she's glued.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, it was the fight scene at the end, and then after that, it was Rocky II, Rocky III.
Right.
All the way. She loved it. So yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Man. That is fantastic.
Tell us about your little girl. I have some pictures that I just melted when I saw. Tell us about her, Michaela.
So my wife's a photographer, and I said when we had our little girl, I said I've got to get her some Rocky pictures, like I have to, and then without even I'm just thinking something small, and then she's great. She's a great gift giver, and so one of the gifts she gives me is the Rocky trunks for my little girl, and it's got her name across the front, just like Creed and Apollo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ready?
I loved it. Yeah.
There it is. Layla May.
Oh, look at that. That's adorable.
Yeah.
I love it.
Still hanging up. Very much a prized possession, even though she can't fit in them anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Look at her. Look at her. I was just going to ask what's her favorite Rocky. Has she seen them? And clearly she's probably still in the stages of writing down and developing her thoughts on the Rockies. So we'll check back in with her in about 3 years.
I will let you know as soon as. I can't wait to be able to sit her down and watch some Rockies. It's going to be some great father-daughter time for sure.
How old is she? I'm sorry. How old did you say?
She's 3.5.
3.5. Oh,
wow.
So cute.
Yeah, so
they grow fast though.
They do. Yes, they do. That picture seemed like it was taken yesterday, and it was taken probably about 3 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I think she was maybe.
Oh my goodness.
That's insane.
You sent off you sent a Rambo item to us. You sent us this. You got that.
Yeah. I was, once I saw Rocky. It was, still on everything.
Sure. I love those signed signatures. I really think they look great. I don't know if they stamp it on like with the machine, like it is his signature.
Right.
He did. That is his signing. But I know when they stamp it on, it goes. Does that go into the metal, or is that like a marker or a pen?
It's embossed a little bit. If you run your finger over it, you can certainly feel that there's something there. It's not,
that's good.
Yeah.
Now, do you display that? Do you have it out somewhere and display on a wall or something?
Yes, I have it downstairs in our little record room.
Oh, really? Now, do you do what I do? And there's pictures of this. So at Thanksgiving, I always have my family come down, and I never had an electric carving knife for the turkey. So I would take my Rambo knives that I kept real sharp, and I would slice the turkey with the Rambo knife.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm sure you've done that many times, right?
Oh yeah. I use my fries knife for
exactly.
we'll chop down trees in the backyard. Yeah.
Of course. That's what it's designed for. My thing here, Brian, is that why have a survival knife if you're not going to use it?
Right.
That's it. It's 100%. That's why it's got the saw on the back,
Exactly right. Thank you. My God. All those haters out there can just take a back seat to what we're saying.
That's it.
Ready for the apocalypse.
Exactly. Hey, listen, you know what, Stacy? People may goof on us, but I'll tell you what, Rocky and Rambo fans, we're going to be ready should that zombie apocalypse happen.
Yep.
There's the Rambos, exploding arrow tips. Zombies won't stand a chance.
I'm with you, Mike.
Brian, I'm curious. Have you seen the new Rocky versus Drago? You've seen the
yeah.
Tell us your thoughts, what you liked, didn't like, what you do differently.
No, I loved it that it didn't feel so 80s.
Okay.
I thought he brought it, more contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
There was certainly more. There was another. It was almost like you were looking at it from a different angle, almost at times.
Yep.
And instead of watching the endless music videos and things like that, it seems a little bit more like a movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it.
Yeah, so I've got it. I've watched it now probably 7 or 8 times. I would have watched it probably more. I haven't had the time. But when I do, that scene gets me all the time. When Rocky and Adrian are inside before he gets in the limo to go to the airport, and we hear Paulie, "Come on, the meat is running."
Yeah.
Oh, I love that scene. Love that scene because we know you can imagine us as an audience, as a fan, we were standing alongside Paulie all that time, waiting for Rocky to come out. And then, now we're inside with them, like you said, another angle. And then, we can imagine ourselves out at the limo with Paulie. Millions and millions of Rocky fans are all out there, and we're now inside. And I just thought that's probably my favorite moment. And
it was a cool effect.
Oh, it really was. It really was. And the fight was really much more serious, I think. And that fight with Apollo, that was even made better. I didn't think it could be, but
it was gruesome. I felt the fighting, they did not rush through those fights. You know what I'm saying? It felt faster in the original, and the audience, at least I was, I felt so much more beat up for both of them. It was much more gruesome to me, and it was gruesome enough, you know what I'm saying? But you really felt the battle more, emotionally speaking. I was like, oh my God. So, yeah.
Well, the scene with him and Adrian in the kitchen in the very beginning.
I love that.
Very cute.
It
I like that.
So much more to the story that, he's fighting this dynamic of Adrian wants me to do one thing, Apollo wants me to do another. Like it's really the little demon on each, the demon and the angel on his shoulders, and you see him struggling with that really hard.
Yeah. And the way he goes in to check on her, he's like, but you're right. You're right. You could feel that was perfectly stated. It's like these dueling forces, and he wants to make the two closest people in his life happy, and they're opposing forces. It's awful moment.
What would be your favorite Rocky movie of all of them? Like if you had one, or does it change depending on your mood or situation?
I think it can change. I think it'll always be Rocky 1 for me. But certainly, I'm in a spot in my life now where, which Rocky do I identify a little bit more with? Is it the Rocky from Rocky 2? Maybe, I'm not in that kind of pit of despair like he was in the first one. I've started to climb, and my life has gotten progressively better. So, have I reached the top? Do I feel like I'm right there like Rocky 3 and then I'm like laying back now? I think I still got some things to shoot for, certainly this year. And and so, Rocky 2, where, I got a little 3-year-old, and family is very, very important to me right now. So it can really change. But I think if someone has to pin me down, Rocky 1 will always be my favorite. For sure.
Yeah, that's who I am too. That Rocky 1 captures it all. And the older I get, the more I'm really I watch Rocky Balboa. Sometimes I'll put that on 3 times in a week. It's crazy how much I'll watch that. And so I think at any given time it can change, and I think that's a good thing. I think thank God we got six movies. Rocky, exactly. And we can and for the other 2, you can fast forward through the scenes to get to Rocky for those nuggets of wisdom.
And through family, I think prioritizing, that was Rocky's lesson in Rocky V is what are you prioritizing? What are you putting all your energy into? And is it the right spot? And that's what I took away from Rocky, at least the second time watching it when I had my own daughter, and realizing, hey, I am putting way too much effort and attention over here, and this is going to be a big regret if I don't get my priorities and attention back to family, back to my daughter. So there was that hit me. So as you're raising little ones, when you're watching Rocky V, it will hit differently. So
just keep her watching the Rocky series. Keep her watching that. Forget about Barney or Teletubbies or Blue's Clues or Paw Patrol. Forget any of that dumb stuff. Okay, give her the stuff that makes sense. Kids will understand that. Start them now. Just put her there in front of the TV. Give her a juice box.
Yeah.
I know, Mike. I know you've got the inside line. So have you ever threw out like an animated series to Sly? Like said, hey,
that's
let's
a good
cartoonize
idea.
these guys a little bit.
That's a good idea. Maybe we'll pass that on.
Yeah.
We'll pass on up the chain. What if he did an animated series, for like
geared to kids?
Geared to kids.
Yeah, and you could start anywhere you want. You could go back to, I know he was looking at doing like prequel Rocky stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Before Rocky was Rocky. And
that's a really good idea. I never even thought about that. I'm very, very proud to steal that idea and take all the credit and tell him about it. And there's no proof. There's no proof that you said it first, okay?
Wait
Other than this being on air, but
Stacy, hit the edit button. Fix it in post, Stacy.
Yeah. No, credit's all yours. Take it and run with it.
No. We'll shoot you right up the chain. So, Stacy, listen, before we get Brian out of here and get him back to living life, anything you want to ask him or talk about that we might have missed so far?
Actually, I had two questions, both of which you got to, and that was the Adrian, how you met your wife, and how was she a Rocky fan or not? So you answered that, and then your favorite Rocky you answered. So those were my two big questions, and I am, just because I'm a mama, I'm going to be putting that up one more time.
That's
for everybody to take her in. She is just so cute. Whenever you sent me this picture, because you sent this in. Oh, pardon me, I'm losing my earbuds. You sent this in for a contest. I think it was like my family Rocky Spirit contest or something, and you sent those in. I was like, oh, that knocked me over when I saw how cute she was. But
where did you find gloves that small? Or is she a 6 foot tall baby?
There you go. She'll knock you right out, Mike.
She'll knock you right out. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those they were seriously adorable. All right, so Brian, on this show, we like to ask everybody as we before we depart, we have a little video. Stacy, hit that video.
Sure. Hang on.
"30 seconds in an elevator with Sylvester Stallone. What do you say to him? Go."
Oh my gosh, so I've thought about this so much. Two words come to mind. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sly. Mr. Stallone, for creating such iconic characters and giving me a reason to go play outside in the backyard with my friends, and giving me a reason and motivation to make my life better, to reach for something that maybe I didn't necessarily think was possible. Just like Rocky didn't realize that being a world champ was possible. So thank you.
Yeah.
And I think that's so well said. It's sometimes the most humblest of thank yous. Just to pay that forward, to get it across, and to let him know what he did mattered deeply to you. So well said, my friend. Bryant, this was wonderful. I love talking to Rocky fans, but I love especially the fact that the three of us had the same painting in the back.
Yes.
That's what I call class.
Yeah, class. We didn't even call each other for that, so that was a nice coincidence.
No, that just happened. None of us got the memo, and yet we all got it. That's awesome. Yeah. Anyways, Bryant, as we always say, keep punching, my friend.
Thanks so much. Great job.
Bye,
Bryant. Oh,
what a lovely guy. Seriously. What I got to tell you what. That baby, that kid is adorable.
She's so cute.
So my God.
Cute. And you're going to, it's funny how he said, I don't remember Rocky not being there. You know what I'm saying?
Well said.
I've said that too. He's been there my whole life. I don't remember Rocky not being there. And so this little girl will have that always. And, just to have that tool bag full of everything that Rocky taught his dad, you're teaching her. And I think, all these values Rocky taught him, and what Rocky taught him, Rocky's teaching the next one. So it just keeps going and going and going. And I don't know. he's great.
And how many millions of people out there are like that have that that love, the appreciation for the character, and that's the thing I love about this little podcast that we do, because it just keeps highlighting the fact that there are so many of us out there. For a long time, I thought I was in a little bubble all by myself, that there were no other Rocky fans. I mean, I knew they were out there, but you couldn't connect like you can today. And this online platform just gives us such a way to interact with all of us. So everybody keep mailing in, keeps telling us you want to be on the show. We're always looking for people all across the planet. Keep doing it. And what else we got, Stace? I think we're on the end of our
we don't have anything else. I was just excited about the t-shirts with Rick Babcock. So as soon as our goal is 1,000, so I'm just going to tell everybody to keep spreading the word about our podcast, and then we're close. We're just a squeak under 900 right now. So
we're close. That's good. I can't believe it. 900.
Yeah,
man, oh man, and they're all real people. We didn't buy them. They aren't bots.
They are real.
We have no money to buy them.
And
I'm happy. Very happy about that.
And then just episode 15 went out from Stigma Does Not Define Us, my other podcast, bringing attention to men's mental health, most especially in England, because the suicide rate over there is heartbreakingly high, and it is 12 men a day. And so we're trying to get men to talk. And so that's my other podcast. And we just want people, or men, all people, but men especially, if you're in a dark place, it is okay to ask for help.
It is okay to ask for help. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
And there's this very cool tour that you can take in Philadelphia if you happen to be there.
The history tour? Is that the Franklin Institute, the Liberty Bell tour? What tour are you talking about, Stacy? There's a little tour called the Yo Philly Rocky Film Tour, hosted by yours truly. So come see us. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok Rocky, TICK, TikTok Rocky, over at TikTok. And what else? I got a little book called Cue the Rocky Music. And I think that's enough of Mike Kunda for now. I think we've all had our share of Mike for the next week. So we will see you guys, I guess, in 7 days. Bye, guys.
Keep punching. Bye.